It's another exciting day at the Blendline Garage. The project that we have for you today are installing these really nice looking paddle shifters on the Porsche GT4. These are built by a company called JCR. If you don't know them, they're a very new company to the market. They make really nice kick-ass aftermarket exhaust predominantly for Porsches. In addition to exhaust, they also make these some interior bits and pieces, and these paddle shifters are one. They have some cool videos showing how these things are made. Essentially, these are made out of one solid aluminum block, and then once they're finished, they're basically add on the black coating to it. It really looks nice. In addition to that, I've actually went ahead and applied some ceramic coating on these, just for that extra little bit of gloss and also protection against like my, I don't know, oils and stuff. So it's going to be an interesting install. So the reason why I'm adding it to the car, there are two reasons. One, obviously from the cosmetic perspective, they look a lot nicer than those aluminum looking shorter paddles, and so that's definitely one reason why I'm adding it, just for the looks. And the second reason I'm adding these, apparently these give you an extra 5 foot-pound of torque. Just the way that it changes gear now, it's going to give you a little bit more torque. And I'll let Johnny confirm that, Johnny from JCR to confirm that, but that's really my reasons why I'm installing these two little bad boys. So in terms of what you need for the install, I think I'm going to figure it out on the fly, but the things I'm anticipating us to be using today, obviously you need your Porsche key. That's very important to get inside the car. In addition to that, what we're going to use is these. I have a punch set. I'm going to find out the right punch. So there are essentially 2 holes on each side of the steering column, and so I'm going to get in there with these punches, and basically that allows you to release the airbag. So that's what I'm going to use the punch for. I have like a plastic trim piece. What this is going to let me do is get off some of the covers, especially when I'm trying to get to the battery, to disconnect the battery before the install. This is going to help me get there. And then I have a T55, which is, fits the bolt that mounts the wheel to the rack, to the steering rack. So we need to undo that with this one. Obviously, we need some ratchets, and then I have a torque wrench here as well. And what this is going to allow me to do essentially is I need to torque down the bolt when I'm putting back the wheel, and I think the torque spec is around 35 foot-pound. So yeah, so that's what I need it for. If I need anything else, and nevertheless, last but not the least, is this tape, right? The masking tape. So I'm going to use this to cover the bottom area or surrounding of the airbag, just because when I'm pulling the airbag, I don't want any damage to the black finish of the steering wheel. So I'm just going to mask it just to be cautious there. If I need anything else, I'll let you guys throughout the install. All right, the first thing I'm going to do today is obviously pop the hood, and what I'm going to do there is essentially disconnect the battery. It's important you disconnect the battery before messing with the airbag. You don't want any error codes or anything like that when you're disconnecting the airbag. You don't want any error messages. So that's what we're going to do now. All right, so the next step is to disconnect the battery. Typically, you could disconnect the positive or negative, but based on what I've learned over the years, you want to disconnect the negative side. So this is going to be the bolt right here. There's a 10mm bolt that you need to take off, and then basically with that, you can disconnect the battery. So I'm going to go ahead, open this bolt up, and then disconnect the negative terminal. And once I do that, I'm just going to cover that negative terminal with a plastic glove or latex glove. I don't think you need this, but just to be extra careful, I don't want to create a short or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just to be extra cautious. All right, so what I'm going to do next, all this black kind of trim piece around the airbag, I'm going to try to tape it up. I don't think this is like me being extra cautious. I don't think there's going to be any problems. So if you want to skip it, do it at your own discretion, but I'm just going to lay a thin cover here. So there you go, there you have it. Alright, so the next thing you want to do, grab a punch that actually fits the hole. And what you want to do here is slightly push it until you hear it click. Tip, when you put the punch here, once this is pressed, try to pull this out just a little bit, because if you don't do that, it will, the moment you release the punch, it will just, the lock will go back in. So just pull it up a little bit here, and now I'm going to do the same thing on this side, and then hopefully that's going to come out. Playing around with it a little bit, comes out very nice and easy. So you want to tilt it, and now it's time to essentially disconnect these two connectors. The way you do that, you want to use your trim tool to slightly pry this section here. There you go. Just remember the order that they go inside. So remember the sticker and the color. This one is fully yellow. This one has some other beige color mixed in. So you just want to make sure you remember the order because they go back in the same order. There you go. I got my precious airbag out. Alright, so next step is taking the wheel off. Alright, next step, I'm going to disconnect these connectors and then loosen this bolt. That's the one that takes T55, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So what you may want to do, you may want to hold on to the steering wheel with one hand and then undo the bolt with the other hand. So I'm going to need my two hands for this. There's like a small dot, and that lines up with the line that's on the steering wheel. So you want to you may want to take note of that. Be able to just pull off the wheel right now. There we go. Now I can take this inside and sit in the under the AC on my desk and basically install the paddle shifters here. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, there are 3 bolts in the back. I'm going to unscrew those. And this is a T20. And like I mentioned before, you can see here, there is a plug in it here. Unplug this. And then in the back, there are 2 screws here. You need to remove them as well. You'll find out if it's actually going to help you or not. And then I think on the punch side, you want to go with the smallest punch. So I'm just gonna try keeping it here. If I can find a way, and just punch it right through. It's a nice looking piece, I gotta say. It's a nice chunk of aluminum. Just for the sake of doing it, I want to compare the weights. So the fact is, these kind of plastic tabs, you want to get these levers on top of these little plastic tabs, otherwise the feeling is not going to be the same. There you go. Awesome. Yeah, feels good. So now I'm gonna put the pin back. And the way you put it back in there, as you can see, there are two holes there that feed these two fangs sticking out. So you gotta guide them there. And the way I find it very easy to do is if you put your fingers from the inside and then guide these two in the holes there. And then just on the top, you basically make sure it fits here. Make sure that's in there, and then you put the screw back. Work it down. So for the torque spec, I have there are different ones floating around. For the previous generation of the steering wheels, I think it's 37 foot-pound. That seems like a lot. Now with the 991.2 generation of steering wheels, which would include this one, it seems like it's a much more reasonable torque spec, which is 22 foot-pound. So I have my torque wrench here, I've set it up, and so I'm just going to torque it down. So I put this one in, you put this connectors, and then make sure you press. That's it. Now we're just going to drop this. Oops, I have it upside down. Just need to drop this in place. That's it. I don't think I need these anymore. And take these off. These guys in. And so you hear a clicking noise, and